What's up, y'all? I'm the Pink Chemist. Hey. So this is my first YouTube video, and before I start putting out content to where I'm going to put out material about how to learn about chemistry, whether it's learning the periodic table, learning about an ion, an isotope, stoichiometry for my college students, and also my high school that I teach, because that's what we do. We definitely do stoichiometry in high school. I just want to share at least 4 things that you would need to know about being a high school chemistry teacher, okay? So, number 1, I want to talk about self-care and replenishing yourself. So, when you are teaching high school, listen, or any, like, not even just high school. I just feel like when you're just a teacher, period, you are more than just a teacher to your scholars. Sometimes you are a mom or a dad if you are a male. Sometimes you are a counselor. You are a friend in certain cases. And a lot of times you are just a listening ear, all right? And so with that being the case, you have to make sure that you take time to pour back into yourself. Like, so some of the things that I do, even during a weekday, I don't wait into the weekend alone to say, okay, I'm gonna get dressed up, hang out with my friends, and do certain things. So I like to schedule time to maybe have dinner with one of my good friends during the weekday. I go to the gym as well. That's something that I like to do at least 2 to 3 times out of the weekday after I get off of work. I also like to treat myself. Either it's to ice cream. I'm not a person that drinks. I know that's a big thing for teachers that like to go and get them, little cocktail. If that's your thing, do you? So for me, instead of like a cocktail, maybe I'll go out and get ice cream. I will make certain days that goes around me working out in the gym to where I'm like, okay, this is going to be my cheat day, and I am going to go and get me some ice cream. Genies, to be specific. Okay, so number 2, okay, setting boundaries but still building a relationship with your scholars. That is another important thing to know when being a high school chemistry teacher or just a teacher in general. All right, so your scholars are going to, especially if you're likable, they are going to share about boo and bae and this and that with you, right? And remember, you are a mandated reporter. So even in those instances, be mindful that whatever a scholar tell you as a teacher, you are a mandated reporter. So if it's anything that is of concern, you must share it with the officials or people that are trained on your campus, if it's going to bring any self-harm to your scholar. But in that regards, outside of that, just some of the fun things that they might tell you because they trust you, you need to make sure that you set boundaries. I'm not as young as I might look, but that's okay. So when you're a teacher like me, I look young. So for them, a lot of the times my scholars just feel like I'm relatable. Like Miss Walker, she gets me. She's not that far off in age of me, so they think. And so they're just like, she's relatable. Like, I can get some pretty good feedback from her. In that, be mindful of still setting those boundaries. So I do that by not sharing a lot of my personal business, what I do, what I have going on in my life, what I necessarily do with my friends. Like, I don't have conversations with my scholars like I would my friends. Right? So I know sometimes because somebody is kind of sharing information with you, it might feel like I should share something back with them. No, do not do that. That is a big no. Your scholars are not your friends. Okay? You are their teacher. Their parents send them to school for you to teach them. And then if you are an advisor or a mentor to any degree, they trust you to be the adult in the situation and not a friend. You do not want to blur those lines. But it is still very possible for you to build relationships with your scholars as well as setting boundaries. And I'll say this as well. I have had many scholars that have expressed that when they have teachers that share things with them as if they're friends, that they don't really like that because they want to see the difference between their teacher and then their friends. So let's not do that. All right. Next, number 3. studying for lesson plans. So for me, I study for my lesson plans. Whatever lesson that I have coming up, I don't just write my lesson plan and then go the next day or the next week and just teach. I go through my PowerPoints, I go through my handouts, and I put myself in the position of the scholar. Oftentimes, even when I don't do it at home, when I come amongst my scholars and we're going over our lesson, whether there's an exam or it's a worksheet that they're doing or we're doing some type of practice, I will sit out there with them at their desk as if I am one of them with my worksheet in hand, even though I make sure that I have my exemplar with the answers very close by, just in case a scholar come by and needs me to check. I already have my exemplar there, but because I teach chemistry, there is so much work. Like, it's very important that you show your work in chemistry, okay? Because it's very easy to make a mistake. But instead of just using my exemplar, I will get out there in real time with them, and I would sit out there and I would do the work with them. And a lot of times I see that their response, it makes them feel like, okay, she gets it. She's understanding that she's not just coming from a place to where she just knows it all. And sometimes I find myself to where I make mistakes as well. So I feel like that makes it very relatable to my scholars. And something that I learned from one of my professors, shout out to Dr. Lyles, was that she used to take the exams with us, right? So she used to take the exams with us, and I remember how that made me feel. I just thought that was so cool that I thought that she knew everything, and she would take the exams with us whenever we took them. And so that is something that I have now also implemented with my scholars. When they take the exam, I will take it with them. And a lot of times that is a way that in the midst of that, I would encourage them along the way. So when they see that I'm working along with them as I'm watching them, and sometimes, you know, of course, because I'm watching the room and I give various different versions of the exam. Let me just say that, because you ain't about to be cheating up in my class. Okay, Bookie, not happening. Period. All right. So I give different versions of the exam, but I sit out there and I also take the exam with them. So those are some things that you can kind of implement. And if that's not really your thing, I definitely just will highly encourage that when it comes to your lesson plan, that you make sure that you're studying and you're just not coming to the table just with all the answers, to where you just really seem like you're a know-it-all. Okay. And lastly, okay, the number one question that I get, especially when my scholars are so frustrated, where they're like, Miss Walker, this stupid, okay? This is just too much work. I don't like it. I don't really even understand why do we need this. So the number one question that they ask is, when am I ever going to use this in life? Okay, when am I ever going to use this periodic table? When am I ever going to use any of these equations? When? I don't even need this for what I'm going to do. I'm not even going to school for something that requires me to do chemistry. And this is my response. I always tell them that they're 15, 16 years old. So if they were not sitting in my class right now or in school in general, they'll probably be at home on a game, sleeping, not really doing much. But I told them that this is just a space to where they can use the discipline and the strategy that I teach in chemistry to become critical thinkers. If they want to be an entrepreneur, you need to be able to critically think that once you get to the bag the first time, you need to know how to duplicate that again. All right. And in order to be able to do that, you have to literally exercise your brain muscles. And so even though you may never use the periodic table, when I'm teaching you strategy of how to read the periodic table and the different functions that you can find on the periodic table to learn how to get your number of ions, your protons, to utilize to get your number of grams, your atomic number, your mass number, like all of these different functions, right? That is you exercising your brain. No, you may never use the periodic table in life, but at the same token, the strategies that you're using, the discipline, the way that you're able to critically think and exercising your brain in chemistry will help you with more areas than you know had you not took this class. again. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Again, when I come back, I am so looking forward to this channel just growing so that you can see more faces that look like me in science, because there's just not a lot of us in this space, especially on the YouTube. So for all of my future educators, if you're out there in school, don't give up, keep going. Even if you're not trying to be a future educator, for those of you that are currently getting your degree in biology, chemistry, any STEM field, keep going. You just never know where life is going to take you. And I am going to be here to help keep you motivated and guided to know that all things work together for the good of those that believe. Because God got your back and you better believe it. Bye.